yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring to their knees. No place for their disease. Rage is like a wind.
Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to a very special edition Sunday stream. We are streaming live on 4 different platforms, 7 different accounts, and I thank you all for coming on in and spending your Sunday afternoons with DJ Shizzle Dizzle. As you can see, I am back in my normal location. I see we got Raphael Katchen already in the chat. I see DK2.0. James Punaseca is also here. Thank you all for filing on in, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a lot more people coming on in as we go forward into the stream here. Please let me know if my microphone is sounding okay. I got my good quality camera up, and everything seems to be running smoothly. This is the official rewind for NXT No Mercy 2023, which, of course, streamed live on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock, yesterday evening, with the pre-show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. They broadcasted live from Bakersfield, California, with the first No Mercy pay-per-view under the NXT brand. First things first, before we get into the festivities here, I would like to apologize for the technical issues yesterday afternoon during 90s WrestleCon. I did get a lot of good pictures. I did sell some merch, and I did get to meet a couple of great individuals. Always a pleasure collaborating with Tommy Fierro and all the people over there with ISPW and 90s WrestleCon. I got to meet Jay Leto for the first time. Mr. Jay Leto and myself, PWP Nation Incorporated. We decided to get together. We talked a little bit. He was selling cards at the other end of the mall. I was by the Kawaii Gifts section. Along with the Dudley Boys and Kevin Nash and Tatanka. I got a chance to meet Tatanka the night before at the ISPW 25-year anniversary show in Toto, New Jersey. And that was a fun time, to say the least. That was a very fun time. But again, I would like to apologize about the production issues. I'm thinking about investing in a personal hotspot, or my friend Chrissy actually told me about a special USB Wi-Fi antenna that you can plug into a laptop when you're broadcasting to help with the Wi-Fi signal. I'm thinking about investing in that, or maybe I may just stream on my phone going forward, depending on the venue and how good the Wi-Fi really is. Yes, I know, the Cheesecake Factory. Yes, there was a whole Cheesecake Factory over there. There was a P.F. Chang's in there. They had a very nice food court as well. It's a nice mall. I will say that. Rockaway Mall. Very nice mall. So I would like to apologize for the production issues, but we should be good right now. I got a good quality picture. I'm not glitching left and right, and my mic is coming in very, very solid, according to James Punaseca. If my mic starts having issues, if I start sounding like I'm underwater, please let me know. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but my voice sounds a little shot. My voice does sound a little shot. I was not drinking too much water over there, and I was going back and forth, having numerous amounts of conversations. The night before as well for ISPW, I was screaming my head off. We saw the return of Rick Recon, the King of Rock. So Hopefully, I will have that vlog up for you guys by Wednesday. That is the goal as of right now. I'll probably upload it to my laptop and then set it to Premiere when I get home. But right now, I'm by the bar. I'm thinking about making this bar my new permanent home. The bar is the new home right now, and I'm very much liking it. I got the spotlight coming down on me here. I got a sink right here if I need to wash my hands. I got some plates and cups over here if I ever want to eat something right here. I got a wine rack behind me. I don't drink, but it's good for show. So I'm thinking I'm liking this bar right now. I like the bar setup. I got the granite and marble bar station right here, and I'm liking it. Now, NXT No Mercy. NXT No Mercy. I've been very, very vocal about NXT, and I've been very, very hard on NXT, rightfully so, by the way, because NXT is the worst brand in the industry. I've been pissing a lot of people off on the PWP Nation Facebook page. Everyone's always complaining to me, well, why does this guy, this nerd, DJ Storms, have a personal agenda, as a personal vendetta? You know, these people that are spitting all over the place, these 600-pound slobs with fucking cookie crumbs and barbecue sauce stains on their t-shirt. Why does DJ Storms have a personal vendetta against NXT? It's such a great brand. It's actually the best brand in the industry. Hooty, hooty, hoo. It's not the best brand in the industry. It has a great roster. The talent over there is great. We do get some very good in-ring action from time to time, but the overall creative writing process sucks hippopotamus balls. I'm sorry if that is hard for you to understand, but all you need to do is watch the show, and you know how bad the creative writing really is. Whether it be bringing in main roster talent to win NXT titles, whether it be putting the title on people that aren't ready, whether it be putting people on television that aren't ready, whether it be 3-minute matches on weekly TV. There was points in times where NXT would have 8 matches on the show, and it would be nothing but 2 to 4 minute matches. NXT sucks. If you like it, more power to you, but the brand objectively sucks balls. That is a fact. See, I would not be saying it if it wasn't a fact. If it comes from DJ Storms, it is a fact. I think all of you need to get with the program right here. I am a god in this community, and you will all yield in my power. The brand objectively sucks. However, last night for No Mercy, we actually got a pretty decent show. Overall, there were some flaws, and we're going to talk about that, but the overall product that we got for NXT No Mercy was actually pretty solid. I don't know what it is, but in recent weeks, I would say in the last 2 to 3 weeks, WWE programming, and I'm even including Raw and SmackDown, I'm including the weekly shows right here. I'm not just including the PLEs. In recent weeks, I can't even believe that I'm saying this, WWE TV and their PLEs have not been that horrible. Trust me, no one kidnapped me. I'm not a clone. I don't need to say a safe word. I'm not sick. I'm not on any new medication. I promise you that. I promise you that. WWE TV in recent weeks has not been that horrible. See, people want to call me an AEW fanboy left and right. People want to say that I'm just a WWE hater left and right because they don't know any better. They're fucking retarded. But at the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, I'm fair. I am very fair in what I say. I don't speak from a personal opinion perspective. I don't speak subjectively. I speak objectively. And if we get an objectively good show, I will say so. And recently, for the last 2-3 weeks, I would say that WWE TV has actually been pretty decent across both Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Now, that doesn't mean that the overall company is in a good place. Financially, they're fine, but from a creative standpoint, they got a long way to go before I say that they are in a very good place creatively. but in recent weeks, they haven't been doing too bad, and I hope that it keeps up. And NXT No Mercy, it continued that good streak of luck. 3 matches specifically were standouts. The others were hit or miss. The others were but I would say 3 matches on the show really stood out, specifically the tag team title fatal 4-way match, and then the last 2 matches on the show for the NXT Championship and the NXT Women's Championship. We're going to do some ranting. Trust me, we're going to do some ranting, but the majority, I would say 65% of this stream, maybe 70% of the stream, I'm going to praise NXT because they did good. They're still the worst brand in the industry. Don't get me wrong. If you don't like that, suck my cock. I don't give a shit. But at the end of the day, for one show, they gave us a solid performance across the board. I would say this was on par with NXT Battleground. NXT Battleground, to me, is still NXT's best pay-per-view of the year. NXT Battleground was actually very good. The only problem with Battleground is the fact that a lot of the matches felt rushed. But this show, I feel as though the matches got a little bit more time than they're usually given. They didn't just give time to the main match on the show. They actually gave time to everyone on the show. They spread the timestamps for all these matches very, very well across the show from start to finish. Now, before we get into the festivities here, of course, you guys have to remember to hit the like button, whether you're watching on Twitter, or it's called X now. It's not Twitter anymore. X, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, please make sure you hit the like button, and please make sure you share the stream out on all platforms, social media, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, whatever social media platforms you may be on, please share the stream out. It is very, very vital that you do so. That way we can get as wide of an outreach as possible, and that way we can get as many people in here as possible because, let's be honest here, I've said it time and time again, I just make people's lives better. Everyone needs a dose of DJ Storms in their life. If I'm not a part of your life, you're living life wrong. I'm just throwing it out there. Of course, please make sure you follow me on social media, whether it be on X or Instagram, at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, at HistoryMakerDJS. You can also add my personal Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com, like the official DJ Storms business page. And I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. A couple of sponsorships that I want to throw out there. My girl, Brittany K. She's a wonderful individual, a wonderful woman, great friend of mine, big supporter of the channel. She does beautifully crafted designs of pro wrestlers from scratch on her iPad, of wrestlers from ECW and WCW, WWE, AEW, TNA, Impact, whatever it may be. She is amazing, super, super talented. She also does custom-made Twitter avies and banners. So if you guys are looking for a new Twitter Avi or banner, or if you want one of these great drawings, one of these great graphic designs of pro wrestlers, she is your girl. Please go show her some support and go follow her on X at BrittanyK5150 and her Instagram at BrittanyK Designs. Both of those links are in the description. Shout out to PWP Nation, of course, created by Mr. Jay Leto. Shout out to him. He hired me for PWP Nation, and you can catch me over there putting forth the best possible wrestling takes ever because I bring a sense of legitimacy to PWP Nation. I'm sorry, Jay, but you know it's true. You already know that when it comes to DJ Storms, I enhance the quality tenfold of whatever I'm a part of. So you can catch me over at PWP Nation making posts and dropping the facts. Please go check out their website at pwpnation.com. And, of course, check out the PWP Nation Facebook page. Both of those links are in the description of this video. And I actually announced a new sponsor yesterday on the Lightning Flash update, Corporate Information Systems, CIS Recruiters. It is a recruiting company looking to help you enhance your career and find a job. It can be stressful. Trust me on that. It can be very, very stressful, and it can be very time consuming, but CIS is there to help you. Trust me when I tell you, you are not going to want to miss out on it. If you guys are looking for a job, if you're looking to enhance your career, CIS is the place for you. You can go look them up at www.cisrecruiters.com. Once again, www.cisrecruiters.com. I'll be putting the link in the description. Going forward, you are not going to want to miss out on Corporate Information System. If you guys are looking for a solid job, a solid position, they are here to help you enhance your career. Of course, please make sure that when you come on in, if you aren't already subscribed, you better hit the subscribe button. It is vital that you hit that subscribe button because that way it's going to help me out, it'll help the brand out, and of course it'll help Hardcore Sports out because Hardcore Sports, we're looking to be the #1 brand in all sports analytics. We're actually live on the Hardcore Sports Twitch, the Hardcore Sports Twitter, and the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel. So please, if you guys haven't already done so, please go show some love to Hardcore Sports. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers for Hardcore Sports, and we're on the road to 2,200 subscribers for your boy, DJ Shizzle Dizzle. So please show some love, hit that subscribe button, and of course, you got to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. It's the only time that you can get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what time it is. I know you were deprived of it yesterday because of the technical issues, but there ain't no technical issues right now. So we're going to light it up right here with this beautifully crafted, magical Ace black comb. Look at that shit. We're going to light it up right here with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Oh, my God. I am just tasty. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC because just like a hot, sizzling slice of pizza, I am just so good. Oh, my God. I am absolutely scintillating. My God, everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. You already know this. You already know this. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here with NXT No Mercy. So we actually had a pre-show match. This was the first time in God knows how long that we actually had a pre-show match. Well, we did have a pre-show match for the NXT Great American Bash show. They've actually been doing a little bit more pre-show matches as of lately. So, the pre-show, we had Kalani Jordan and Blair Davenport. And I'm not going to lie, I've been keeping an eye on her. And I got to admit, there is something there with Kalani Jordan. Now, this really wasn't anything over the top. This went 7 minutes. Can't really do too much with 7 minutes, but for the 7 minutes that it went, Kalani Jordan actually held her own. Kalani Jordan, she's got a very nice look for herself. She looks like a woman that you want to support, and she's actually very solid in the ring for having relatively no experience as a professional wrestler. I'm not sure if she did gymnastics back in the day. I mean, she has to have. She has had to have done gymnastics back in the day because she just moves so fluidly. She moves very, very swiftly. She's comfortable on the ropes. She's very, very quick, and she tries to be innovative with her offense. And that right there, I can respect. There's something there with her. I would say give her another 1, 2, 3 more years, and I do believe that she could very well be an NXT Women's Champion when it's all said and done. I'm not going to lie. And hell, there's actually an NXT Breakout Tournament. That's right. On the Sidelines podcast. Yes, there's an NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. I would not be surprised if Kalani Jordan actually ends up winning that tournament. It seems like that is her tournament to win. Blair Davenport, listen, we all know how good Blair Davenport is. If not Jade Cargill, I'm actually a little surprised that we didn't see Jade on this show. If not Jade Cargill, Blair Davenport would absolutely be a top-tier candidate. I mean it, a top-tier candidate to take the NXT Women's title off of Becky Lynch. Blair Davenport, she has women's champion written all over her. She is so fucking good. So, Kalani Jordan, she actually looked pretty decent here. She came in with a nice swift Hurricane Rana off the ropes. Blair Davenport shut her down pretty quickly. Blair tried to slow the pace down. We had a nice Boston Crab being locked in. Kalani Jordan and Blair Davenport then traded blows back and forth. This was something that I've never seen right here. Kalani Jordan got Blair Davenport in a cravat-like hold, in like a cutter-like hold, right? She got her in a cutter hold, and then she swung herself through the ropes. She didn't touch the ropes, swung around through the ropes as if she was a merry-go-round into a cutter in the ring. I thought that looked very, very nice. So after that, Kalani Jordan then with a cartwheel back elbow. Kalani Jordan then with the Playmaker. MVP would have been proud of her. Playmaker, but Blair Davenport kicked out. Jordan then went up for a split-legged moonsault. It kind of looked a little sloppy, but thankfully it wasn't meant to connect. Split-legged moonsault, but the knees were up by Blair Davenport. She then went up to the top rope, delivered a diving stomp right to the back, and then delivered a Falcon Arrow, and Blair Davenport gets the win. 1, 2, 3. Not a bad showcase for Kalani Jordan at all. Not too shabby. I will admit that. Very, very nicely done by Kalani Jordan. Blair Davenport was always meant to get the win. Nothing I'm going to go back and rewatch. Again, it was a 7-minute match. You can't really do too much with 7 minutes. But Kalani Jordan, she's slowly coming along. And I appreciate Kalani Jordan's effort to work hard and get better. Afterwards, Gigi Dolan then jumped Blair Davenport, and we got ourselves a brawl with the referees coming out to separate them. And this all stems from what happened last Tuesday on NXT, I believe, when Blair Davenport actually attacked Gigi Dolan. So they got their little feud going on, and we'll see what comes of that. I'm not really sure where Gigi Dolan's going to fit in, but Gigi Dolan, they're giving her opportunities. We'll see what happens. I actually prefer Gigi Dolan more so than I prefer JC Jane. So after that, we go to the main show, and the main show kicked off with Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. And I have to say, I wasn't really expecting much out of this match, but for what we got, and it really wasn't anything special. It was like a 10-minute match. It was better suited for NXT Weekly Television, but I will say this. The brawl that they did before the match started, and then when we got the actual match, for what we got with the combined amount of time, with the brawl and the match, this was probably the most fun that I've ever had watching a Baron Corbin match in years. I cannot remember a Baron Corbin match that felt this fun. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go back and rewatch it. That doesn't mean it was a classic. But the match did what it needed to do to start the show. The crowd was into it, which was actually pretty surprising because they're both heels. Baron Corbin actually came off like the babyface in this match, which surprised the shit out of me. So, Braun Breaker came out wearing a werewolf head, which I thought was badass. Badass shit right there. Baron Corbin came out on a motorcycle. He almost looked like a combination of the American Badass Undertaker, and Ghost Rider. And I love me some Ghost Rider. I love the Ghost Rider movies. Nicolas Cage, that was some good shit. Really, really, really good shit. So Baron Corbin, from the jump, actually had my eye. So the brawl started right out of the gate. Braun Breaker said, fuck this. And did a tope con hero right over the top rope, taking out Baron Corbin. And Braun Breaker is no small man. So the fall, fall off the top rope, over the top rope with the tope con hero, that actually looked brutal because Corbin didn't really catch Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker kind of went splat back first on the mat, and he got right back up. Must have been adrenaline because I don't know how a normal man would have gotten back up after that. That looked rough. So Braun Breaker, like the crazy son of a bitch he is, tope con hero over the top rope onto Corbin. No bell yet. No bell yet. So they brawled into the crowd. Corbin was then sent over the barricade. Braun Breaker then started taking out the security. Corbin then clotheslined Breaker over the barricade, and then he laid Braun Breaker out on the table. There were some steel steps by the announce table. So after Breaker was laid out on the table, Baron Corbin went up on top of the steps, and he was going to do a dive on Braun Breaker through the table. And Baron Corbin delivers a diving senton off of the steps, but Braun Breaker moved, and the table didn't break. Table did not break, and Baron Corbin's back went splat on the table. So now in the ring, the bell finally rang. Baron Corbin with a flying shoulder tackle. He tried to slow the pace down. Breaker then with a fireman's carry gutbuster. Breaker with a running knee in the corner, and then a Frankensteiner from the middle rope. He then delivered a military press power slam, but Baron Corbin kicked out. So Baron Corbin now, he was on the defense. Corbin kept on telling Breaker, hey, bring it, pal, bring it. So Corbin then with a Death Valley driver, very nicely done, Death Valley driver high on the shoulder by Baron Corbin. Braun Breaker kicked out. Braun Breaker then went for a spear, but Breaker caught a deep six. Breaker kicked out again. Both men then traded blows back and forth. We had a high knee by Breaker. Breaker reversed the end of days, running body block, and then a clothesline over the top rope, sending Corbin to the floor. Braun Breaker then went for the spear. He then ran around ringside and he went for a spear. Baron Corbin popped him up with a spine buster and put him through the announce table. The announce table just completely exploded. That was a very nice spot right there. Very nice spot. All of a sudden, Braun Breaker, like the fucking maniac he is, he sits up. He sits up like the fucking Undertaker. He's got this fucking crazed look on his face. He spears Baron Corbin on the floor. Back in the ring, Baron Corbin is down, and Braun Breaker is going for another spear. All of a sudden, Robert Stone, Von Wagner's manager, comes out of nowhere. He's on the top rope. Mr. Stone jumps off the top rope. Braun Breaker catches him. He military presses him over the top rope into the security guards. Baron Corbin then takes advantage of this, delivers the end of days, and Baron Corbin gets a big win, and I mean a major, major victory. Baron Corbin beats Braun Breaker to open No Mercy. Like I said, really nothing to go back and rewatch. However, this was probably the most fun that Baron Corbin has ever delivered in terms of a wrestling match. The most fun wrestling match that Baron Corbin has ever delivered in years, and I mean years. I was actually a little surprised that Corbin got the win here thanks to Robert Stone. But in a sense, I'm not complaining too much because it could mean one of two things. It could very well mean that Breaker is now going to get sidetracked and he's going to go into a feud with Von Wagner now, and Von Wagner is going to come back. He could very well have his match with Breaker, and then that could mean that Breaker is going to get called up to the main roster, or maybe Von Wagner is coming back to feud with Baron Corbin, and Breaker could very well be called up to the main roster as soon as Survivor Series. Maybe even before that. I'm actually shocked that Braun Breaker has not been called up to the main roster already. But overall, nothing to go back and rewatch. But Baron Corbin came into NXT, and no one really thought anything of it. He then brought back the Lone Wolf gimmick, and he's got this new badass attitude where he's going to burn the ships of his past, and he's going to burn everyone's ship. The match with Braun Breaker, although it was nothing special, it was extremely fun for an open. It did what it needed to do, and it was probably the hottest that a crowd has ever been for a Baron Corbin match in God knows how many years. Still not better than his match against Carmelo Hayes, but for this type of crowd, being outside of the Performance Center, Baron Corbin carried himself very well. Matter of fact, Baron Corbin on NXT has been a breath of fresh air for his career. This is probably the best that Baron Corbin has ever looked since his days as the Lone Wolf when he was the United States champion. And I'm very happy for Baron Corbin. I hope it continues. I really, really, really do hope it continues for Baron Corbin, because if Baron Corbin can develop a nice, solid reputation for himself down in NXT, he could very well rejuvenate his career to a point where people will actually be excited to see him. And that's a great thing. So I wish Baron Corbin the best. I'm shocked that he won. I'm very shocked that he won. Braun Breaker almost feels like a glorified enhancement talent at this rate, because ever since he turned heel, everyone's been beating him. However, if Baron Corbin's getting called up to the main roster sooner rather than later, then I don't mind that Baron Corbin won this. We'll see what happens. But Baron Corbin getting the win over Braun Breaker, not a classic by any means, but it did what it needed to do to open the show. Trick Williams and Dominic Mysterio. This was for the NXT North American Championship. And we had Dragon Lee as the special guest referee. So you knew from the jump that there was going to be shenanigans going on. However, we did not see any other member of the Judgment Day. We didn't even see JD McDonough. So Williams, he tried to gain the early advantage. Dom tried to walk out, but Williams stopped him dead in his tracks. The crowd was chanting, "We want mommy." I don't blame you. Dom then took advantage and kicked the middle rope into Trick Williams' balls. He took advantage, slowed the pace down with a ground and pound. Williams then came in with a drop kick for a 2. Double clothesline, both men are down. We had a 619 to the back by Dominic Mysterio. Dominic accidentally super kicked Dragon Lee, but when he realized he super kicked Lee, he was smiling because Dominic does not like Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee lost to Dominic Mysterio this past Monday on Monday Night Raw, and Dragon Lee failed to capture the North American title. So Trick Williams then with a jumping neck breaker. We get a new ref, but Dominic kicked out. We had a flapjack and a kip up by Williams. Both men then collided heads. Both men are down. And then Dom, when he went to run the ropes, he accidentally hit the other referee. So both referees now are down. Dom then sent Trick Williams back into the ring after they crashed over the top. Williams then covered Dominic Mysterio after Dominic missed the frog splash. No referee again. Trick Williams tried to get Dragon Lee up. So as Dragon Lee came to, he was trying to collect his thoughts. He was a little rattled from the super kick. Dominic Mysterio had the championship in hand. Trick Williams then with a V-trigger, a very nice V-trigger, I will say that, a V-trigger knee with the championship going right into Dominic Mysterio's face. Trick Williams covered. Dragon Lee swoops in, makes the 1, 2, 3, and Trick Williams is the new NXT North American Championship holder. I almost said championship, period. Trick Williams is the new holder of the NXT North American Championship. Now, a couple of things. Number one, this was expected. This was expected because it was reported that Dominic and Rhea Ripley, no member of Judgment Day, was scheduled for any more NXT appearances following No Mercy. NXT was going to be off of the radar of the Judgment Day following this premium live event. So I had a feeling that whoever was fighting Dominic Mysterio at NXT No Mercy was ultimately going to become the new NXT North American champion. This should have been Mustafa Ali, but they got all trigger happy with Mustafa Ali, and they decided to fire him. And reportedly, NXT executives were not too happy with the decision to fire Mustafa Ali because it legitimately came out of nowhere. And I don't blame him either. I don't blame him. And I feel bad for Ali. I legit feel bad for him because he has been shafted every step of the way. But this was expected. This was expected. Dominic should have never won the title to begin with. The fact that he beat Wes Lee was a spit in the face to everything that Wes Lee ever did. Because Wes Lee, he's the greatest North American champion of all time. His title reign was special. His title reign was to be respected. His title reign is something that will go down in the history books. He should have never lost the title. And if he was going to lose the title, he should have lost it to Mustafa Ali at the Great American Bash, which I do believe that would have ultimately have been the endgame. But that never happened. Dom should have never won the title. He was never ready for the title. Although, I will say this, the match with Dragon Lee on Monday was excellent. The match that he had with Dragon Lee on Monday Night Raw was probably the best match on that show, and probably Dominic Mysterio's best match ever. And he won clean. So I was actually very impressed with what Dominic Mysterio did on Monday against Dragon Lee. But then again, Dragon Lee brings out the best in everyone, and it was one match. It's going to take a lot more than one match to prove to the people that Dominic is worthy of holding the title. Dominic should have never won the title to begin with. So whoever was facing him at NXT No Mercy was ultimately going to beat him. However, why did it have to be Trick Williams? Now, don't get me wrong. I like Trick Williams. He can talk. He's got a nice look. He's got a cool theme song. He's got a cool chant. Crowd's chanting, whoop, that trick. It's cool. He comes off cool. He comes off slick. And Trick Williams, he's not an agenda pusher. He hasn't been complaining. He's been trying to work hard to get better. I don't mind Trick Williams. I'm happy for Trick. But at the same point in time, is he ready? Does anyone look at Trick Williams and think to themselves, yeah, he's ready? I don't. He's way too green. Not to say that he's sloppy, not to say that he's botchy, but it seems as though he doesn't even know what he wants to do next in the ring. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that knows how to carry a match yet. He could have easily have used another 1 to 2 more years before he is to win a championship. The only reason why he was put in this scenario was because Mustafa Ali got fired. Mustafa Ali was supposed to be the guy to beat Dominic Mysterio. Mustafa Ali was supposed to win the North American title on 2 separate occasions. He was either going to beat Wes Lee at the Great American Bash, or he was going to beat Dominic Mysterio at No Mercy. That was ultimately the end goal. We didn't get that because he got fired. But Trick Williams, he's merely in this spot because Ali got fired. I understand you needed to throw someone out there, but at the end of the day, did it have to be Trick Williams? Why are you fast-tracking him? Because when you fast-track someone and they don't live up to the expectations of the people, you are ultimately going to sour on said individual, so will the fans, and said individual will never get to where he needs to be unless he improves at a rapid rate. You cannot fast-track someone to a championship just because your original plans went up in smoke. And if your original plans went up in smoke, there was a much better option staring you right in the face. His name was Dragon Lee. I don't understand why we didn't get a rematch from Monday. I don't understand why we didn't get Dragon Lee Dominic Mysterio part number 3. And that is when Dragon Lee would have beaten Dominic Mysterio. Listen, I understand that Dragon Lee didn't want to spend a whole lot of time down in NXT. He just wanted to get familiar with what WWE's all about. And for all we know, we could very well see Dragon Lee make his debut on a premium live event for the main roster next Saturday. We could very well see Dragon Lee as Santos Escobar's and Rey Mysterio's partner against Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits at Fastlane. They teased it. We could very well see that. But if we were going to see that and we were ultimately going to end with that come Fastlane, why did Dragon Lee bother mixing it up with Dominic Mysterio? Why did you put Dragon Lee in a match with Dominic Mysterio in which he stole the show in his debut on Monday Night Raw? He was the best thing on that show. Why did you put him in a scenario to steal the show, ultimately to not follow up on it at all? He was the special guest referee. He should have been competing, and Trick Williams should have been the special guest referee. That's all I got. The match itself wasn't even anything special to begin with. I like Trick Williams, I do. But the man does not give off the vibe that he's ready. He's not seasoned enough. You could have given him another 1 to 2 more years, and then he would have been ready. Trick Williams only became the NXT North American champion because Mustafa Ali got fired. And even then, if he needed a backup plan after what happened on Monday Night Raw, it should have been Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio, because Dragon Lee embodies everything that the North American Championship is all about. The NXT North American Championship has been one of the brightest spots on NXT for God knows how long. And the fact that Dominic Mysterio won it only to lose it to Trick Williams, it didn't feel impactful. It didn't feel cool. It didn't feel important. I am happy for Trick Williams, but why fast track a man that's not ready just because your original plans went up in smoke? It's not a good look. I guess we will keep an eye on Trick Williams. I really do hope that he improves quicker than we expect. I really do hope. Yes, exactly. On the Sidelines podcast, he was just an easy replacement. But then again, they could have done the same thing with Dragon Lee. It could have done the same thing with Dragon Lee. And yes, Sarah Hapka, I got to put this up on the screen right here. I don't want to disrespect Trick Williams, but it really does feel like they downgraded the title. Wesley brought it up to here, and then as soon as Dominic won it, he brought it back down to here. And Trick Williams, listen, I guess you could say he's better than Dominic Mysterio, but not by much. Not to say that I don't want Trick Williams to succeed. I do. But he's just not there yet. I respect his desire to learn. I think he's got a great look and a great theme song, and he's a very good promo when he wants to be. But his in-ring ability does not match what the potential could have been. I don't want to make comparisons, but whenever I look at Trick Williams, I see the male version of Jade Cargill. I literally see the male version of Jade Cargill. He's got everything going for him, except he is not where he needs to be from an in-ring perspective. And I don't give a shit what company you are part of, whether it be WWE or AEW. If you are not up to par in the ring, you should not be in a high priority role. End of conversation. But look, I'm happy for Trick. We'll see what happens. So at this point, the show was very, very eh. At this point, the show was very lukewarm. At this point, the show really felt like a show that could have easily been placed on NXT TV. Then we get to the tag team title match. And this is where things started to amp up a bit. It was Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stax Lorenzo versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, Los Lotharios, versus Brutus and Julius, the Creed brothers, versus Lucien Price and Bronco Nima, and they are calling themselves Out the Mud. And Scripps is their manager. This was my first time seeing Out the Mud. And I don't mind them. I think they got a very nice look to themselves. I think they got a very nice attitude. I think that Scripps being their manager actually works in their favor. And I would say give them a little bit of time. They could be something. They could be something. This is where things started to rev up just a little bit. Now, I was not expecting too much of this. I was actually expecting this match to be a bit more of a clusterfuck, simply because of the fact that I didn't know what to expect from Out the Mud. But in the end, all four of these teams worked their ass off, and I respect that. They tried to be innovative. They tried to come up with some new shit. And for Out the Mud to come on their first ever NXT Premium Live event and get thrown to the Sharks in a scenario where they're fighting for a title and they passed the test with flying colors. They looked very good out there. I would say that's a major win for them and a major win overall for everyone involved in this match. So it was chaos right out of the gate. Julius with a swanton bomb over the top rope, taking out Los Lotharios. Out the Mud then came in, and they wore down Brutus. Stacks and Carrillo then mixed it up a bit. Carrillo with a springboard crossbody. In came Stacks, and Stacks with a cannonball to Angel and Carrillo in opposite corners. Tony D then went for a double back body drop. It's a similar move that Ridge Holland does. He went for a double back body drop with both members of Los Lotharios on his shoulders. And he just collapsed. He just collapsed, but I didn't really see his knee buckle. But the referee then went in to check on Tony D. I didn't see his knee buckle, but Tony's knee was in pain, according to him. He was selling the knee, holding the knee. He's got this look of pain on his face. The referee's trying to back Angel Garza off. And I was actually nervous. There. I was thinking to myself, man, I cannot help but feel bad for Tony D. I feel so fucking bad for him. He could have very well have torn a meniscus. He could have very well have torn an ACL or an MCL. I was very, very worried. And when they carried Tony D back and the match continued, I had it in my mind, well, we're going to have to get new champs. Tony D can't go. Tony D is going to be out for 6 to 9 months. There's no way he's coming back. So after Tony D was taken away by medical, Stacks was then isolated. Ivy Nile then took out Scripps. We had a tag to Brutus. He lit up both Nima and Price. We had a flapjack on Garza. Ankle lock was cinched in. So Brutus had the ankle lock on Garza. Julius Creed then came in, and he was delivering suplex after suplex to everyone that came into the match. Suplex to Nima, suplex to Price, suplex to Stacks. We then had a double Northern Lights suplex by Julius Creed on Out the Mud. Julius is not that big of a guy, but he is very, very strong. I was actually a little shocked. It actually impresses me every time that Julius still pulls out these crazy maneuvers. So Garza was in pain. The ankle lock was in deep. Carrillo then came in, saved the match. Carrillo and Out the Mud then worked together on Stacks. Stacks was isolated by all three men. All of a sudden, we see Tony D on the ramp. Tony D comes walking out of the ramp. Tony D's shoving the security guards. Tony D is saying, I got to get in there. I'm going in there. Do not stop me. He's shoving everyone out of the way. He then goes in with a knee brace on, might I add. He has a knee brace on. Spinebuster on Carrillo. It became a four-way slugfest. We had all 8 men going up to the top rope. 2 men in each corner. And we had 4 superplexes at the same time in stereo. 4 superplexes at the same time in stereo. All of a sudden, Out the Mud, then with some double team action, they looked like they were going to do it. Tony D kicked out. It was mayhem. Everyone started taking out everyone. We had Brutus Creed with a springboard Brutus ball. A springboard Brutus ball onto the pile on the floor. I believe it was Bronco Nima that was still in the ring. Bronco Nima was still in the ring with Tony D and Stacks. They hit the bada boom, bada bing, which I believe is it's an elevated spine buster / back body drop. They call it the bada boom, bada bing. And Tony D and Stacks end up getting the win. 1, 2, 3. They retain the tag team titles. So when Tony D came out, I was happy and I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I breathed a sigh of relief. Tony D was not legitimately injured. And That was it. That was it. We actually got a very good Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. I didn't know what to expect from Out the Mud, but all four of these teams worked very well together, and the right team won. There's no reason why you're going to take the titles off of Tony D and Stacks. No reason. Now, I'll tell you one thing I am looking forward to. I do believe at Halloween Havoc, we're going to have ourselves a tag team match between Tony D and Stacks and the Creed Brothers. The Creed Brothers, to me, are the best tag team that NXT has right now. I love Tony D and Stacks, but from an in-ring perspective, the Creed Brothers are fucking great. They're fantastic at what they do. So I'm actually looking forward to a potential match between those two teams. And after the Creed Brothers lose, I can honestly see the Creed Brothers getting called up. You're going to need new challengers for Judgment Day, right? You want a shot of adrenaline in the main roster tag team division? The Creed Brothers can be just that. So I would absolutely call the Creed Brothers up after they lose to Tony D and Stacks, which I do believe it's going to be at some point during Halloween Havoc. And by the way, Halloween Havoc is not a pay-per-view. Halloween Havoc is not a pay-per-view this year. Halloween Havoc is actually a 2-week special. Their next pay-per-view is going to be Deadline. Deadline doesn't take place until December 9th. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it a lot. So we had another promo package for the man watching TV, flipping through the channels. And I believe people have speculated and may have confirmed that it's going to be Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman Jr. will be making his debut in NXT. And I'm actually looking forward to that. Because if anything, I've said it when Brian Pillman Jr. became a free agent. This could very well be what Brian Pillman Jr. needs to get himself to the next level. Because in AEW, he was in a very good tag team with Griff Garrison, you know, the Varsity Blondes and all that. But there was so much talent that was ahead of him. And I have a feeling that Brian Pillman Jr. wants to go out there and he wants to be a great singles wrestler. He had a thing going for himself in the tag team, but in the end, he wants to be a breakout singles wrestler. And putting him in NXT, working with the crop of talent that they got down there, that could very well be what he needs. So I'm looking forward to him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in NXT, and I'm looking forward to the matches that he could potentially have with the likes of Hayes and Breaker and Dragunov and many, many other people. So I'm happy that Brian Pillman Jr. is going through NXT. It could be what he needs. Noam Dar versus Butch, NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Now, I understand that a lot of people might not like the Heritage Cup rules. We've seen some better Heritage Cup title matches in the past. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not very fond of it. I'm not very fond of it because it makes it feel too much like boxing. It makes it feel too much like MMA, like UFC. I don't want UFC when I'm watching WWE. When I watch pro wrestling, when I watch a WWE or an AEW or I go to an indie show, I want pro wrestling. I do not want UFC. I want professional wrestling. I don't want anything that makes me feel like I'm watching professional wrestling. Or like I'm not watching pro wrestling. I don't want anything wrestling related to make me feel like I'm not watching pro wrestling. I don't want to feel like I am watching MMA, mixed martial arts, when I'm watching an NXT premium live event. Noam Dar is great. Noam Dar is a fantastic pro wrestler, as is Butch. Pete Dunne, we need back. We need the Pete Dunne name back ASAP. But both of these guys are great pro wrestlers, and we did get some really good pro wrestling in this match. However, I'm not sure if you guys have felt the same way. I've been very, very vocal about this, and I will continue to remain vocal about this because it's true. Metaphor sucks. Metaphor is just complete fucking cringe. It's like I'm watching MTV. It's like I'm watching bad MTV. It's like I'm watching fucking Degrassi from, what was it? Teen Nick or some shit like that. It's like I'm watching Teen Nick Degrassi live on a WWE NXT Premium Live event. They just don't come off as cool. They come off like geeks. They come off like bums. They come off like they're about to drop the hottest album, but they come off cringe. They are legit cringe. I just cannot bring myself to say anything positive about Metaphor. Although they did put on a pretty decent 10-man tag on the pre-show back at the Great American Bash, but that was the only positive thing that I can think of. Matter of fact, Noam Dar as the Heritage Cup champion, it's actually bringing the Heritage Cup championship and himself down several pegs while he's aligned with Metaphor. He needs to get rid of him. I'm sorry, he needs to get rid of him. He is not benefiting from this whatsoever. I don't mind Oro Mensah. Oro Mensah is the most tolerable. And if anything, I think that Oro Mensah and Noam Dar could be a very good tag team if they want to add to the tag team division, because the tag team division seems to be going through a bit of a renaissance period. Yeah. On the Sidelines podcast, they come off like Disney Channel characters. They come off like fucking 7-year-old Disney Channel characters. It's like I'm watching the fucking Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Or I'm watching fucking, well, what else? It's like I'm watching fucking Phineas and Ferb. Like I'm watching fucking Good Luck Charlie. Like whatever Disney Channel shows that there are out there. What are some other classic Disney Channel shows? I can't even fucking remember. But Metaphor sucks. And Noam Dar is actually being brought down several pegs. If they want to do a tag team with Oro Mensah and Noam Dar, I got no problem with that. But Zakara Jackson and Lash Legend, they are fucking garbage. I'm sorry. If anything, Butch should have won. I was actually shocked. Yeah, Wizards of Waverly Place. There you fucking go. They look like fucking Wizards of Waverly Place. I don't know what you guys were thinking, but I was actually shocked that Butch didn't win. I was actually shocked that Butch didn't win because WWE right now, they are in this fetish where they're giving all of these main roster talents NXT championships. You had Dominic Mysterio as the NXT North American champion. You had Becky Lynch as the NXT Women's champion. I could have bet my life. I would have bet my bank account that they were going to give the NXT Heritage Cup title to Butch. I really would have. But that didn't happen. Why? I don't know. I don't know why Noam Dar even won the Heritage Cup back from Nathan Fraser to begin with. Too much interference as well. Way too much interference. Too much interference from Metaphor, and then we had Gallus coming out as well. You should have just given it to Butch. So Butch with some joint manipulation, that ended round 1. By the way, there are 6 3-minute rounds in this entire thing. There are 6 3-minute rounds in Heritage Cup rules matches. 6 3-minute rounds. It's 2 out of 3 falls. If it ends in a tie, Noam Dar retains. 2 out of 3 falls. A knockout wins the match. Disqualification also results in a championship loss. So that is the rules for the Heritage Cup Championship when it is being defended. So in round 2, Dar caught Butch with a nasty elbow. Dar then poured on the aggression. We had Oro Mensah with a cheap shot right behind the referee's back. Nova Roller by Noam Dar, and Dar gets the first fall. Into round 3, Butch had the advantage. We had a moonsault to the floor on Dar. We had a bitter end connecting, and Butch ties it 1-1. Butch then kept the pressure on Dar in round 4. Dar with a sleeper hold. Butch reversed it, and he got Noam Dar in an armbar. Butch then with an armbar, and Dar, he wriggled his way out of it. Fisherman suplex by Dar for a 2. Butch then with a triangle. Dar was out, but the clock ran out. The clock struck 0, so Noam Dar was legitimately saved by the bell. Round 5 begins. Both men traded blows back and forth. Dar with a stiff back elbow. Butch kicked out. Butch then had Dar up top. We had a superplex for a 2. Dar then with a brainbuster on the apron. Back in the ring. Butch kicked out. Butch then stomped on Dar's finger just as the bell rang. Lash Legend then wrapped up Dar's finger as we went into round 6. Butch then with a snap German suplex. Mensa with an enziguri again behind the referee's back. We had a Nova Roller, but Butch kicked out of the Nova Roller. Tyler Bate then went and took out Oro Mensa. We had a bop and a bang by Butch and a Tyler Driver 97, but Noam Dar kicked out. Noam Dar then had Butch, I believe it was in an armbar, but Noam Dar was caught by Butch with the finger, snapped the finger, did Butch, bitter end, but Noam Dar kicked out again. Butch then snapped the pinky. He wrenched at the pinky and snapped at the injured pinky of Noam Dar. I was actually wincing in pain. Gallus, then out of nowhere, it was Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. They attacked Tyler Bate. Butch then took them out. Joe Coffey then came in out of nowhere, hit the discus lariat, which he calls Aura Best for the Bells. Noam Dar covered, and Noam Dar retains the Heritage Cup Championship over Butch. Probably the biggest negative of the night. If there's one match that I would not recommend, it's this match. Not because of the fact that Dar and Butch are bad at what they do, but way too much interference. Metaphor just sucks. And Noam Dar is not really doing the NXT Heritage Cup any good, to be quite honest with you. Dar is great. Metaphor is trash. And Butch winning would have been the right outcome. Butch, at least, would have brought that Heritage Cup Championship up several notches because Pete Dunne, Butch, whatever you want to call him, he is that good at what he does. Butch is fantastic at what he does. Butch is perhaps one of the most underappreciated talents on the main roster right now. I'm actually pissed off that we never got a rematch with Butch, Pete Dunne, and Gunther. We should have absolutely gotten those two competing for the Intercontinental Championship at least once. Pisses me off. But it just wasn't a good showcase. Not because they're bad talents, just because of all the bullshit going in and around outside of the match. It just did not come off well. Easily the biggest negative of the night. Again, Noam Dar is fantastic. So is Butch. This just wasn't it. It just did not connect in the way that it really should have connected. And after that fatal 4-way, they were placed in a tough spot to begin with. Noam Dar retains the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Where do we go from here? I honestly do not know. I don't know. If you guys have any idea, I'd be open to suggestions, but to be quite honest with you, I do not care about anything that Noam Dar does as the Heritage Cup champion. Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov. This was for the NXT Championship, and this was the co-main event of NXT No Mercy. Should have been the main event, if we're going to be quite honest with you. This was probably the match that I was looking forward to the most, for obvious reasons. If you guys saw their matchup at NXT Great American Bash, you would know what I'm talking about. That match was fucking fantastic. That match was absolutely fantastic. That match, easily one of the most underrated matches of the year. If you guys have not seen their first match at Great American Bash, go out of your way and watch their first match. You will not be disappointed. This was their second match. Now, the story here was Ilya Dragunov. He was not happy because Trick Williams was holding up the NXT Championship in front of Carmelo Hayes, and Ilya Dragunov dove off the steps at the Great American Bash with a Torpedo Moscow, but he hit Trick Williams and the championship. Carmelo Hayes said that he didn't want it to go down that way, but it is what it is. So Ilya Dragunov has been foaming at the mouth to get a rematch with Carmelo Hayes because of that night. And Carmelo Hayes, he wants to prove that he can beat Dragunov on his own. You roll it up into a ball, and this story that's been building all summer, and we're going to get ourselves an excellent main event. And that's exactly what we got. An excellent NXT Championship match. So Dragunov wasted no time. Came in with a stiff boot right out of the gate. No time wasted. We went right into the action. Stiff kicks, stiff chops. Hayes then had a nice flurry of offense, but Dragunov shut him down. So the story here in the match, Hayes was on the defense the majority of this match. Dragunov was just super aggressive. It was probably more aggressive than when I seen him fight Gunther for the NXT UK Championship. So Dragunov shut him down with some machine gun chops, chop, 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 over and over again. Hayes then with a stiff right hand by Hayes, back and forth. We had a stiff enziguri, springboard bulldog by Carmelo Hayes for a 2. Dragunov then with a German suplex, a second one. Carmelo Hayes got free. He got free of the third one. Rebound off the ropes, tilt-a-whirl, face buster. That got a 2 count. Carmelo Hayes then with stomps right to the head. Dragunov came back with a high knee and a power bomb. Dragunov was then going up to the top. He went for a coast-to-coast. But Dragunov came flying down. Carmelo Hayes tried for the code breaker, but Dragunov caught the knees. He then hoisted Carmelo Hayes up, did Dragunov. Death Valley driver into the corner, which looked brutal. Dragunov then, with a coast-to-coast, connects. Carmelo Hayes kicked out again. Dragunov then slapped Carmelo Hayes off of the top rope and delivered a deadlift suplex. Deadlift superplex from the apron. He went for the Torpedo Moscow, but Carmelo Hayes caught him with a code breaker. Ilya Dragunov followed up, rebound off the ropes, big forearm, which he's calling the H-bomb. I'm not really sure why he's calling it the H-bomb, but that's just what Vic Joseph is calling it on commentary. So the diving forearm, H-bomb, right to the face, 1-2, Carmelo Hayes kicked out. Carmelo Hayes then, with a scenario where he was down, he was completely out. He was just sprawled out on the mat. Dragunov went up to the middle rope, delivered an H-bomb from the middle rope. Hayes kicked out again. Dragunov was just absolutely livid. He just had this look of distress on his face. He was pissed off. He wasn't happy at all. So Dragunov was busted open. I believe it was right above his right eye. He was busted open. Hayes then with a super kick. Dragunov kicked out. Both men are now on the apron. They traded blows back and forth, and Carmelo Hayes with a suplex cutter off of the apron to the floor, and both men were down. Nothing but net was on point for Carmelo Hayes. He was going for nothing but net. He was poised to strike nothing but net, but it was countered with a clothesline. Carmelo Hayes was clotheslined out of the air by Dragunov, and then Dragunov from the top rope, super H-bomb, super diving forearm right to the side of the head. Dragunov covered. 1, 2, 3. Ilya Dragunov is the new NXT champion. Excellent, 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 excellent match. I was hoping for a Dragunov win, and we got just that. Carmelo Hayes and his NXT title run has been excellent. Excellent. Carmelo Hayes did exactly what he needed to do with the NXT Championship. Great matches. Great matches with Waller. Great matches with Dar, with Breaker, with Corbin, Dragunov, Wesley, and now he drops it to Dragunov in their second match. Dragunov is going to be a very, very, very special champion. He is long overdue for an NXT Championship title reign. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Dragunov does as champion going forward. Matter of fact, I wouldn't mind a third match between these guys. I would not mind a third match between these guys whatsoever. Matter of fact, I think that should be on the cards for Halloween Havoc. That should absolutely be on the cards for Halloween Havoc when we get to that two-night event. Either it's on the 24th or it's on the 31st. If you're asking me, I would do it on the 31st. The main event of week 2 of Halloween Havoc. That's what I would do. That is probably the best route to go. I'm very much looking forward to that. Afterwards, Carmelo Hayes, he was dazed, he was confused. Dragunov was telling him, get up, get up. He shook his hand, gave him a hug, embraced him, and that was it. Nice show of respect by Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes, and the era of the Mad Dragon is upon us. Once again, guys, if you have not gotten a chance to watch this match, go out of your way to watch it. It was great. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Melo going forward. There's multiple routes that he could go. We could very well see the rematch, part number 3, and this ends the feud, part number 3 at Halloween Havoc. And then, based on what happened at the end of the show, we could very well see Carmelo Hayes turn on Trick Williams, and we could see Carmelo and Trick feud over the NXT North American Championship. Now, that would be interesting. That would be rather interesting. Or, now this is me just throwing things out there. I'm not saying it's a definite. Let's say Dragon Lee does not show up at Fastlane. Let's say it's an 8-man tag with the Latino World Order, the LWO. It's Santos, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Rey Mysterio versus Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, and a 4th man. I would not be opposed if we get an 8-man tag at Fastlane. I would not be opposed whatsoever if we see Carmelo Hayes make his debut at Fastlane as a legitimate main roster superstar, and he joins the faction that Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits got going on. He would fit like a glove. Although he doesn't need it. Don't get me wrong. Carmelo Hayes is good enough to stand on his own 2 feet. But if we get Carmelo teaming with Bobby and the Profits against the Latino World Order at Fastlane, I'm not going to honor one fucking complaint. That would be a great move and a great debut for Hayes. We got some matches booked for Tuesday's NXT on Tuesday. I mean, I said Tuesday twice. Got some matches booked for NXT TV on Tuesday. We got the Women's Breakout Tournament that is going to begin on Tuesday. Tyler Bate and Butch, they're going to be taking on Gallus in a tag team match on Tuesday. And we also got Gigi Dolan versus Blair Davenport. It was announced by Michaels that the main event of NXT No Mercy, it was going to be Tiffany Stratton and Becky Lynch. And that was the main event of this show. Now, I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying here. I don't want people to think that I was going to assume that this was going to be a bad match. I knew it wasn't going to be a great match. It was a great match. It was a worthy main event from an in-ring standpoint. It was a worthy in-ring main event for a pay-per-view. However, from a story perspective, from a build perspective, I can't sit here and tell you that this match was the right match to put on in the main event. From an in-ring standpoint, it was very, very good, and they're lucky. No shit, it was always going to be good. It was always going to be good. Tiffany Stratton is unbelievably talented for her young age. Becky Lynch, she's a great women's wrestler. She's a piece of shit. She's a selfish bitch, but she's a great women's wrestler. Of course it was going to be a very good wrestling match. But this program legitimately came out of nowhere. WWE literally pulled this program out of their ass when they had Tiffany Stratton show up at Payback earlier in September. Literally, this match came about out of nowhere where Becky Lynch randomly decided to show up on NXT, fight Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship. She beat Tiffany Stratton, and we get the rematch at No Mercy. That's all this feud was. This was a feud that literally came out of nothing, and the only reason why Becky Lynch is on NXT was because WWE is in desperate need of ratings. They want to try and increase the value of NXT because they got this package deal with the USA Network. They got all these media rights deals coming up, and with SmackDown going back to the USA Network, we want to have NXT on the USA Network too, and we want to get more money for NXT on the USA Network. Meanwhile, they can't even build a decent wrestling show with the talent that they have. So in desperate need of intrigue, in desperate need of attention for the former Black and Gold brand, they call upon main roster superstars and they have them win NXT championships. It's pathetic. It's absolute bullshit. The story and the build was not worthy of a main event. It's the same thing with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Great women's wrestling match. Perhaps the best female wrestling match at WrestleMania in the modern era. Maybe even of all time. That was a great match. Match of the year candidate with Charlotte and Rhea back at WrestleMania. It was great. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh yeah, it should have main evented. No. The build did not warrant a main event. I'm sorry. I don't care if that pisses you off, because to be quite honest with you, I am not here to cater to anyone. I am here to drop the facts. If you like it, cool. Thank you for the support. If you don't like it, that is not my problem. You're a fucking bitch. The match was great. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying, but the build was not worthy of a main event. You can't just have a main roster superstar magically show up on NXT, win an NXT title, and then automatically say to yourself, yep, that's worthy of a main event. I don't give a fuck who's in the main event. World Championships for the men always main event the show. The NXT World Championship should always main event an NXT Premium Live event. There's only certain cases when it's okay that it doesn't main event. Gargano Ciampa, I was okay with that. War Games, I was okay with that. Same thing with WWE main roster and AEW television. Certain cases where the world title not main eventing is okay. Like Anarchy in the Arena. That didn't main event. Double or Nothing. That main evented Double or Nothing this year. The world title didn't main event Double or Nothing this year. I was somewhat okay with it. I would have still had the Pillars Fatal 4-Way main event, but Anarchy in the Arena is a chaotic match that we see once a year. Sometimes twice a year if we get a stadium stampede. I was okay with that match not main eventing the show. I was okay with the Pillars Fatal 4-Way match not main eventing the show because we got a story rich with the Blackpool Combat Club and a reunited Elite in Anarchy in the Arena. That was fine. I was completely okay a couple of months ago when Willow Nightingale and Athena main evented a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. They main evented Death Before Dishonor for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. You know why? Because the story was rich. The story was Willow Nightingale finally overcoming Athena and winning the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. It didn't happen. I do believe it will happen, but it didn't happen at Death Before Dishonor. And Claudio, his world title match legitimately came about 2 days ago against Pac. So why would you put those guys in the main event when the story didn't call for it? Now, if Claudio fought Eddie Kingston or if Claudio fought Mark Briscoe, that would have been warranted of a main event. There's certain cases and certain scenarios where the world title not main eventing the show is okay. This was not one of those scenarios. I'm sorry. It was a great main event, great match, but the story did not warrant it to main event the show. So it was Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, Extreme Rules match for the NXT Women's Championship. Becky came out with some weapons. She started hitting Stratton with a kendo stick and a chair. The fight then spilled into the crowd. They brawled up into the stands and around ringside. Stratton then hit Becky with a kendo stick. She then grabbed the steps, hit Becky in the head with a kendo stick, and hit her with the steps. Stratton then pulled out a steel wrench from a toolbox, hit Becky Lynch with it. We had a sidewalk slam by Stratton. That got a 2 count. Stratton then was beating Becky Lynch with a chair. Becky then came in with a Beck-sploder suplex and a missile dropkick. We had a flying forearm off the apron. Becky then put Stratton in a shopping cart and then drove her into the steps. So Stratton, she could have not have been in a comfortable position because she was kind of packed in there. So Becky then got a black bag, and it was a bunch of broken Barbie doll pieces. And this was obviously a shot at Tiffany Stratton for calling herself the Buff Barbie. This is where shit started taking a nosedive. The match was going fine up until this point, but this is where shit started to go downhill. The crowd booed, and rightfully so. I was fucking pissed. I was not happy. I was actually disgusted. This was very, very lame. I don't give a fuck if it's PG or not. You're on Peacock. What are you gonna do? Get in trouble? You're on fucking Peacock. Give me thumbtacks. Give me thumbtacks. Give me broken glass. Give me ladders. Give me blood. I don't give a shit. If it's Extreme Rules, make it feel like Extreme Rules. You may as well not even bring out a black bag unless there's thumbtacks in it. Or Legos. Thumbtacks or Legos are the only two things I will ever accept in a black bag in pro wrestling. Very, very lame. And it even got even lamer because Becky Lynch was literally throwing the broken pieces of the Barbie dolls at Tiffany Stratton on the outside as Tiffany Stratton was trying to block it with a trash can lid like she's fucking Captain America. That looked fucking awful. That actually made me want to turn the show off. I was ready to turn the show off after Carmelo and Ilya, but this made me want to turn the show off even more. Thank God they recovered. Thank God they recovered from that and they got the match back on track. Because that shit really pissed me the fuck off. So, Tiffany Stratton said, fuck this. She whacked Becky in the face with a trash can lid. Tiffany Stratton was then draped over the rope. Becky put the trash can on her, delivered a guillotine leg drop with Tiffany in the trash can, draped over the rope. Tiffany came back with a spine buster on the trash can for a 2 on Becky. We got some more chairs. We got about 10 chairs. Becky then with a butterfly suplex on the chairs, armbar locked in. Stratton then rolled out, holding on to Becky, and dropped her on the bottom half of the steel steps. Back in the ring, both women now up top. Becky was then knocked to the floor. Becky then with a Beck-sploder into the barricade. Becky then pulled out a table. Major crowd pop. So the table was set up. Becky then vanished underneath the ring. Tiffany was looking for her. Becky Lynch sprayed Tiffany in the face with a fire extinguisher. Tiffany then with a rolling senton on the floor. This was actually a very nice spot right here. Tiffany Stratton with a handspring back elbow to Becky Lynch through the barricade, which looked very nice. So then they tore apart the announce table. Becky was then dropped off of the announce table into one of the announcer chairs. Tiffany Stratton with a rolling senton off of the table onto the announcer chair, and they destroyed the other half of the timekeeper's barricade area. Tiffany Stratton then put Becky Lynch on the table that she set up next to ringside, and then she delivered a swanton bomb off the top onto Becky. The table did not break. Table did not break, which looked very, very brutal for both Stratton and Becky. Table had an I am the table moment. So the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Tiffany Stratton then with a moonsault to the floor, but she missed. Becky then with a manhandle slam on the floor, back into the ring. Stratton kicked out. Stratton looked to finish it. Rolling senton onto the chairs. She went for the prettiest moonsault ever, Becky moved, and this was a fucking nasty bump for Stratton right here. This could have ended bad, but Tiffany Stratton, it really goes to show you that she's got no fucking fear whatsoever. Tiffany Stratton went for the prettiest moonsault ever, and Becky moved. Tiffany Stratton went face first into a steel chair, which looked fucking nasty. Becky then delivered a manhandle slam on the chairs, and Becky Lynch retains the NXT Women's Championship and will fight Tegan Nox tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. I was actually shocked that there was no Jade Cargill. I would have bet my money that Jade Cargill would have came out at the end of the show and she would have stood toe-to-toe with Becky Lynch. Let me get the positives out of the way before I shit on this. First off, the match itself was great. Excellent match. Probably Tiffany Stratton's best match. Matter of fact, Tiffany Stratton's first and second best match in WWE was against Becky. Both of her best matches ever were against Becky within a 3-week period. And the fact that Tiffany Stratton was placed in a program with Becky Lynch and she has shined brighter than she's ever shined before. She has grown immensely. She has grown from an in-ring perspective immensely. Excellent. Excellent stuff. I cannot find enough good things to say about Tiffany Stratton from an in-ring standpoint. Her promo work still sucks. I swear to God, her promo work is awful. Sounds like nails scratching on a chalkboard. She is awful to listen to. She does not come off natural whatsoever. Her voice is fucking annoying. But from an in-ring standpoint, she is excellent. From an in-ring standpoint, she's the future of the business. Or at least she should be the future of the business. There is no reason why Tiffany Stratton should not be a future WrestleMania main eventer. She is amazing. She should be fighting women like Charlotte. She should be fighting women like Bianca, like Io, like Asuka, like Bayley. She is fucking great at what she does. Let me take a sip of my water. And then you're about to get a hard dose of reality right here. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck what you've done. I don't give a fuck who you think you may be or what value you think you may hold. Fuck you, Raj Giri. At the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, Tiffany Stratton gained absolutely nothing from this feud with Becky. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what your friend may think. I don't give a fuck what all these aging veterans, these aging fucking dinosaurs like fucking Bully Ray. I don't even believe I had to share the same air as him when we were at 90s WrestleCon. This fucking moron Bully Ray, fucking retard Jim Cornette, fucking living fossil Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo. Yo, bro, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, bro. I don't give a fuck who you are. Tiffany Stratton was fucking buried twice within the same month by Becky Lynch. And I don't give a fuck what you think the definition of buried is. The definition of buried in pro wrestling is when someone loses any and all of their credibility. When their credibility takes a hit and their credibility goes from here to here, that is buried. Buried is when someone is poorly booked for 3 months as the NXT Women's Champion, put into a terrible feud with Thea Hale that resulted in a shitty submission match at the Great American Bash. Buried is when someone who should have been in line for a long and lucrative reign as the NXT Women's Champion loses to a woman in Becky Lynch, who should be in no position where she should be winning any championships. Matter of fact, she should be putting other talent over. Buried is what you call Tiffany Stratton. I'm sorry, but that is the objective truth. I don't care how you look at it. You can go on and say, well, no, the Tiffany Stratton, they gained a lot Tiffany Stratton, she was enhanced tenfold. She was enhanced tenfold in this feud with Becky Lynch, and Tiffany Stratton is going to be such a major star in the women's division. She's not buried. Yeah, she took 2 losses in a row to Becky Lynch. Oh, what do you want? Do you want a rookie? Do you want an NXT rookie to go and beat Becky Lynch, who is one of the biggest female stars in the industry? Yes, that's exactly what I fucking want. Fucking Nimrods. Tiffany Stratton, in this instance, is playing the role of Rhea Ripley. Didn't you say the same thing when Rhea Ripley lost to Charlotte Flair back at WrestleMania 36? How many people went on and on gargling WWE's balls saying, Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley gonna be okay. Rhea Ripley was enhanced with that loss to Charlotte Flair. She actually gained more in defeat. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley completely fucking lost herself. Rhea Ripley lost herself. She was in no prominent feuds. She was used to help get everyone else over. She went on a losing streak. She went on a losing streak where she was putting everyone else over, and she wasn't reaping the benefits of anything. She was putting over Dakota Kai. She was putting over Io Sky. She was putting over Raquel Rodriguez. She was putting over everyone. Then she gets called up to the main roster, wins the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 37, and then she gets beaten by Charlotte again, burying her even further. Her promo ability got worse. She was put in no memorable matches whatsoever. She was put in tag team after tag team with Nikki ASH and fucking Liv Morgan. Then she joined the Judgment Day, and then and only then did Rhea Ripley finally start to rejuvenate her career. It took Rhea Ripley 3 years to rejuvenate her career. I don't give a fuck what you want to tell me. Rhea Ripley was never the same after that loss to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 36. And the only reason why Rhea Ripley was even in the conversation to fight Charlotte at WrestleMania was because they were trying to right the wrong that happened back at WrestleMania 36 in an empty performance center during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's the only reason why Rhea Ripley chose Charlotte Flair. She should have chosen Bianca. Everyone and their mother knows that Rhea Ripley should have chosen Bianca. She didn't. She didn't because of the simple fact that Charlotte Flair, she was in a position where Rhea Ripley could have been in a position to right the wrong that took place. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what you want to say. And if you don't like it, you can suck my cock. I know I'm right. And you know I'm right. Becky Lynch, in no way, shape, or form, should be around any championships whatsoever. There is no way, shape, or form you can justify Becky Lynch in the championship title scene at this point in her career. Tiffany Stratton was given the NXT Women's Championship back during Memorial Day weekend in a very good match against Lyra Valkyria. Probably the best women's match of that specific weekend. She looked great. She looked amazing. And then what happened? She was thrown into a shit feud with Thea Hale, resulting in a mess, a complete mess of a submission match at the Great American Bash. Becky Lynch randomly shows up. A program between the two was thrown together because WWE is in a stage where we got to drive up the ratings for NXT. Becky Lynch beats Tiffany Stratton on NXT on September 12th to win the NXT Women's Championship. And then what happened? You got a big rating on that week. You got a big rating on that night, 850,000. And then next week, it went right back to under 650,000 viewers. So by that logic, by that statistic right there, Becky Lynch as the NXT Women's Champion is already a failure. Becky Lynch, in no way, shape, or form, should be winning any more championships throughout her career. And if she is to win any more championships, it shouldn't be for another 3 to 4 years at least. What's the rush? Why do we need to get a championship back on Becky? Becky should have been in a scenario where she should have been fighting Shayna Baszler, where Shayna Baszler could have written the wrong that took place at WrestleMania 36 when Shayna lost to Becky when she should have beaten Becky. And then Shayna was thrusted into tag team after tag team after tag team. But no, instead, after Shayna Baszler sent Ronda Rousey packing, you throw Shayna Baszler into another tag team with Zoe Stark because the women's tag team division is non-existent. So you got to piece together these women's tag teams out of nowhere to try and make it seem like there's a competitive women's tag team division. Yeah, good job right there, WWE. I don't give a fuck who's going to try and argue with me. I don't give a fuck who's going to try and make these excuses. I don't give a fuck what Cornette says, what Bully Ray says, what Sean Ross Sapp says, what fucking Jim Cornette. I already said Jim Cornette. I don't give a fuck what Vince Russo says or Eric Bischoff or any one of these fucking morons. Tiffany Stratton is fucking buried as buried could be. Buried is when someone has an NXT women's title reign and gives everything to make her reign work, but creative does not give anything back to her. All people are going to look at when they look at Tiffany Stratton is, oh, that's the woman that Becky Lynch beat twice within the same month. Now what's going to happen? Look at the women's breakout tournament. The women's breakout tournament's about to begin. Where does Tiffany Stratton fit into this? Everyone said, oh, Tiffany Stratton's going to win the championship back. Everyone said Tiffany Stratton's going to win the championship back at No Mercy. What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened? She lost. I swear to God, people like this, people that go on and try and just justify every wrongdoing that WWE does, people that just want to motorboat the ballsack of WWE, absolutely fucking disgust me. I didn't make the community the way it is. They did. And people like them did. Because they're not honest. Because they're not truthful. Because they operate with an IQ of 35. They should be in a fucking mental asylum. They should be in a special needs care. Because they're mentally fucking inept. Shit just pisses me off. Just wait. Just wait. I guarantee you. Just you wait. I guarantee you that within a couple of months, when Tiffany Stratton is in the undercard and Tiffany Stratton is not in any way, shape, or form in a major program, when Tiffany Stratton is not up on the main roster, or if she is up on the main roster, when she's jobbing out to fucking Rhea Ripley like Candice LeRae's jobbing out to Rhea Ripley, or if she's getting squashed by Nia Jax, I guarantee you, everyone, and I mean everyone, is going to start saying the same thing as I'm saying. This whole fucking thing is a joke. It honestly is a joke. Tiffany Stratton worked her ass off to get better and strives to get better every single week. She was legitimately given nothing. Creative neglected Tiffany Stratton during her NXT Women's Championship reign, a shitty title defense at the Great American Bash against Thea Hale, and then Becky swoops in. The program was thrown together out of nowhere to generate ratings on NXT, and then the ratings went from 850 right back down to under 650,000. So ultimately, this little Becky Lynch experiment in NXT is a failure. You sacrificed Tiffany Stratton's momentum and gave her a completely unmemorable, uneventful, completely unimportant women's title reign to have her drop the title to Becky in order to try and generate interest in NXT. I swear to God, I cannot fucking stand the WWE sometimes. Sometimes with this company, I say it all the time. I've been saying it more so than I've been saying it in my entirety of doing DJ Storms. Ever since I started this, I have never said this statement as much as I've said it in recent months. I don't want WWE to fail, but they have given me every reason in the book to want to see them fail. You have so many women in that locker room. Women, not just Tiffany Stratton, women like a Roxanne Perez, women like a Tegan Knox, women like a Blair Davenport, women like Kalani Jordan, who's busting her ass to get better, women like Candice LeRae, women like Indy Hartwell, women like Gigi Dolan. She's trying to get better. And you favor Becky Lynch because you are in a desperate mode to boost the ratings and boost interest in NXT. Meanwhile, it should have been taken off the USA Network and placed on Peacock years ago. But no, let's favor Becky Lynch. Yeah, let's all, as fans, collectively suck WWE's schlong because Tiffany Stratton had 2 great performances against Becky Lynch. I don't give a fuck. 2 great matches, 2 wrong outcomes. 2 great matches, 2 wrong outcomes, and then people want to wonder why I constantly shit on this company. You people need to get your heads out of your fucking asses. My voice has been shot. I'm pretty sure I just reshot my voice all over again. Tiffany Stratton's got a long way to go. Long way to go. Long way to go before she is back to where she needs to be. We could very well see Tiffany Stratton be in a scenario where she takes longer to recover than Rhea Ripley did. Rhea Ripley fell on some really hard times, and she actually got the best luck that she could have ever gotten because Triple H took over. If Triple H never took over, if Triple H was never in a scenario where he took over WWE for 5 months, when Vince McMahon went away, when he retired, Rhea Ripley would have never gotten the opportunity to rejuvenate her career. I don't think Tiffany Stratton's going to be so lucky. I guarantee you, in the coming months, everyone's going to be saying the same thing that I said. This is exactly what happened with Rhea and Charlotte, exactly what happened with Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, and John Cena at WrestleMania 30. Tiffany Stratton should have never lost. Tiffany should have beaten Becky Lynch, and Tiffany Stratton should have continued her NXT Women's title reign going into the fall. I sound like a broken record. And I'm reiterating and repeating the same thing over and over again. I am fucking pissed off right now. Sweat my fucking balls off right now. I gotta go take a shower. This is what this fucking company does to me. Pisses me off so much. I'm ranting and raving, blowing out my fucking voice, and sweating my ass off. All because they cannot be bothered to create new stars and book their talent correctly. Very good match, though. Very good match. Wrong outcome. Steve Jordan, you came at a bad time because I'm actually getting ready to wrap this up. Because that wraps up this edition of The Rewind for NXT No Mercy. Solid show overall. Minus some of the outcomes, solid show overall. You guys have been great. You guys are great, and I greatly appreciate you guys coming on in and spending your Saturday afternoons with me. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. You guys make being DJ Storms worthwhile. You guys make being DJ Storms worthwhile, and I'm having the time of my life doing this shit. I'm having the time of my life doing this shit. I'm having the time of my life ranting and raving, calling people retards, and I'm having the time of my life pissing people off with the facts. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Tomorrow, we got ourselves a special Monday stream. It's going to be Hooligram joining me once again on the channel, and it will be the rewind for AEW Wrestle Dream 2023. Sunday, tonight, is Wrestle Dream from Seattle, and a lot of speculation going around that we could very well see the debut of Edge or Adam Copeland. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, to say the least. Once again, thank you all. Thank you to Steve Jordan on the Sidelines podcast. Thank you to Dee Dee. Thank you to James Punaseca. Thank you to Sarah Hapka. Thank you to Earl Cole. Thank you very much. You guys were fantastic, and you guys are the reason why I continue to do this at the rate that I do this. We are going to have a very, very fun stream tomorrow, and we're going to make Mondays feel like Fridays, that's for sure, when Hooligrim joins me for the rewind for Wrestle Dream at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Thursday, I got the rundown for WWE Fastlane at 7:30 p.m. And then next Sunday, October 8th, the rewind for Fastlane at 2 p.m. Another busy weekend coming to us this weekend in the realm of professional wrestling. And hopefully we'll have a few weeks to catch our breath and relax a bit. Although on October 12th, I'm going to throw it out for you guys. October 12th, it's going to be World of Wrestling, episode number 2, with Mr. Jay Aletto and myself. Plenty of major topics to talk about in the realm of professional wrestling. And we are going to dive in depth on Fastlane. We'll dive in depth on Wrestle Dream. We're going to talk about Adam Cole's injury. Is it a work or is it not a work? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tiffany Stratton's burial at the hands of Becky Lynch. And we are going to talk about any other topics that you guys may be interested in. Until next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. But before we get out of here, people, you already know the drill. You got to tell me who runs the IWC. Everyone should know it by now. Who runs the IWC? Let me take a sip of my ice water. I will tell ya who runs the IWC. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you fucking forget it.
'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.